Can Halo Infinite ever recover from this? Well, this is a question which is massively opinionated, of course. A lot of the community right now will say straight up, no, there's not a chance, that they've lost all hope and interest in this game and don't really care about the future of Halo Infinite. However, a lot of people, like myself, who are quite optimistic, do have a different perspective on the matter, and I want to share that in today's video with you guys. Look, a lot of people are sick of the way this game's being managed, as am I. I really don't agree with the way this game's been managed, and I'm not a fan of it at all. I think this could be handled so much better. Another thing you've got to take into account as well is that Halo is different to most franchises. Halo is very much in the same category or brand as Call of Duty and the likes of FIFA, in a sense that no matter what content or new game comes out with this name Halo, it's always going to bring players back and people are always going to be interested in it. And that's just solely attributed down to the legacy that Halo has built from the Bungie days. Now, I want to detail two of the main ways that Halo can come back and that it can recover from this absolute horrendous mess that it's in right now. But without further ado, let's discuss them both. Okay, so to start off with, I want to ask you guys a question. What is the main reason people love to play Halo? Why do people get excited for Halo when it comes out or something new drops for it? I can tell you the answer right now, and it's because of the story, the campaign, the split screen co-op. Granted, not everyone is going to have this opinion, but I would imagine the majority of Halo fans will think in this way. This is what makes Halo, Halo. In Halo Combat Evolved back in 2001, there was no multiplayer to begin with. It was literally you lugging your Xbox and plasma TV from your house all the way to your friend's house to either set up a LAN, or you can take your controller around and split screen with your friends. Now, I do have a pretty hot take about Halo, and it's one that not everyone will agree with, but I think it's extremely relevant to the point to where we are now, and the last year has proved this. Traditional Halo arena multiplayer is not enough to carry the franchise anymore. It might have been back in Halo 3, it might have been back in Halo 2 and Halo Reach, but it is not good enough right now. Of course, the way that it is at the moment in terms of having so many missing features doesn't help, of course, but even if it did have those features, I just think gaming is evolving. Whether we like it or not, I don't think that is going to be able to carry the franchise. Look, the live service model that we've got in place right now is just not enough to take this game from where it is now all the way back up to the top where it belongs, even if we did have these additional features that are missing added back in. I'm not saying can the multiplayer completely or arena, because I do love playing arena every now and then, but I just don't think it's powerful enough anymore to be able to take Halo where it needs to be. I always use Destiny 2 as a massive example for this, and I'm going to continue using it until they cock up, because Destiny are such a good example of how to run a live service game in the way that Halo players and lore fanatics and campaign lovers want Halo to be ran. And they include the traditional PvP and arena multiplayer in with PvE, and it goes hand in hand and works seamlessly. Now yes, Destiny doesn't have necessarily a static campaign like Halo does, but that's why it's so good. Yes, you don't get the same atmosphere in the gameplay, or you can't just jump into a campaign mission or the open world and chill out like you can in Halo Infinite, but the Destiny Sol, which is like the solar system, is so versatile. So many places you can go and explore. The skyboxes are absolutely stunning, and the story is continuously updating weekly. And when it's not updating anymore because you've completed it, there's still so much you can do, from challenges, bounties, leveling up your light level, and much more. To compete in this live service market, Halo needs to be more of an active game. Not just in the content rollouts of multiplayer, but in terms of the story progression, and everything else around that needs to come together and be more of an active game. Creating an ever-evolving multiplayer story, which people actually care about. Look, the campaign is what made Halo what it is today. So why are we creating new characters for the story when we have about 5 different characters and teams that were absent from Halo Infinite? I mean, to be fair, those characters could come into the multiplayer story later on down the line. We don't know, we haven't seen the future of this online story just yet, but from what we've got right now, I don't really understand the purpose of it when we've got loads of characters that we don't know where they are right now from the mainline story that we all want the answers to, along with so many other characters in the Halo universe that could have been used in this multiplayer story to get some of the more OG fans, or fans coming from the likes of Halo Wars 2 from the Spirit of Fire, or Halo 5 and Blue Team, or just something like that. I really hope this story proves me wrong, but it's looking pretty bleak at the moment. Anyway, let's dive into some of the main ways Halo can recover and get back on top, and I think you guys are going to like these. Now, the first one, of course, is for 343 to reach seasonality. This is just a baseline one, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but they have to reach it. If they don't reach it, we're going to be in big trouble come March the 7th. However, I don't just think reaching seasonality is enough. They need to keep on top of this. They can't just reach seasonality for a season, and then after that, be back in the same mess again. Seasonality is not enough for 343. On March the 7th. It needs to continue, and they need to expand the overall service model of this game. When people ask about the future of Halo Infinite, most are focused on the live service and the story and the multiplayer. But hello, there's an incredible mode sat in the background wondering what the fuck is going on with it. Halo Infinite's campaign was controversial, I'll give you that. It lacked that storytelling aura that the likes of Halo 2 had. But what it does do is do an amazing job at taking Halo back to his roots. Halo Infinite is like the Halo Combat Evolved of the 343 era, a Chief and a Cortana-like story, like the original game, but in Infinite's case it's much more open world, and it does have the linear missions there as well. And to be quite honest, this was probably why there was no presence of any other teams or characters within this campaign. For me, campaign DLC should be a huge priority for Halo and 343 and even Microsoft, and have that DLC integrate into its live service. Halo's multiplayer story and live service is not good enough, guys. I'm going to sum Halo Infinite's live service up to you guys in 2 sentences right now. A live service cutscene telling us about a story in which honestly is a bit naff, which then forces us to play one mode of multiplayer to finish one singular battle pass, for us to then go into another cutscene, for us then to wait another 3 months for a season, or in Season 2's case, 10 months for the next season's cutscene. It's just not good enough, guys. The Halo Infinite story has us all wondering who the hell the Endless are. Why are they much worse than the Flood? Where is Lasky, Palmer, Halsey? How did Atriox survive? We don't have a clue, and we probably will need to wait years to find this stuff out. A hell of a lot of Halo Infinite was cut during its development cycle. Surely they've got some leftover content that was cut that they can use for DLC, right? I personally thought that with the success of this campaign and the amount of questions that it had, and just following the general trend of live service, I would have thought there'd be a campaign follow-up within at least the following year. We're a year into it and we don't even have campaign network co-op, so I don't think that's going to happen, Chief. I think we'll be very lucky to see any campaign content before 2025. I always revert back to this example. Destiny has a campaign expansion every single year without fail, pretty much, with 4 seasons minimum in that single year. This guarantees a new story every single week for the foreseeable future for Destiny, which is just huge for Bungie to accomplish, and I've got to praise them for it. But Destiny do it right, and to be honest, do exactly as Bungie have always done things. We have a cutscene, then we actually play through the story. We then have to interpret some of the lore, hint in the dialogue, and get some really interesting progressions in the story. A lot of effort is put into this game and its live service story, and people really care about it, and since the Witch Queen launched, the growth of Destiny has only increased more. Unfortunately though, I just can't say the same thing for Halo right now. It just can't continue like this. If 343 want Halo to be anywhere near as successful as the Bungie era or even Destiny right now, this live service model needs a change. Look, I've said this already, but even if 343 reach seasonality, the layout of these seasons is just not good enough to get Halo back on top, or to bring players back and to make them care. So I hope 343 get the seasonality they're looking for. I hope they can get to a stage where they can produce good content for us regularly, and man, I hope that they change this live service approach big time. Now, one final thing for me, and I see this a lot in my comments and within the community, especially Scarlett in my comments, that every video I make, she makes her point very clear that she wants firefights or a PvE mode, so shout out to you, Scarlett. I've said this in my last 2 videos, and I want to continuously push this because it's so important. PvE is arguably as popular, if not more popular, than PvP in, not just in Halo, but generally other games out there as well. Agreed that traditional firefight is probably not enough to carry Halo Infinite or just bring some interest back. Gaming has evolved since Halo ODST, and we do need an evolution of firefight or PvE in Halo. My idea is something that I think would suit Halo Infinite so well. I don't know if the Slipspace engine is going to be able to cope with this, but this is my idea. Zeta Halo needs to be reused into a new PvE mode. What is the point in having one whole map that's that big for 4 players maximum to go, and you can only go 800 meters apart. Why not have Zeta Halo as a whole new PvE mode that you can go to? There's a hub there of some sort that you can go and meet other players from all around the world, and that'll be your base of operations, and you can go off to do missions in Zeta Halo and just do things like this. Throughout this whole experience, we are our own Spartans. We can see the chief and the weapon around the camp, have a hub like the tower in Destiny, objectives around Zeta Halo, even reuse campaign assets and give us new story objectives or missions, bounties of killing enemies, playing missions backwards and things like that, new high value targets, and even Spartan killers throughout. Hell, we could even use Outpost Tremonius as the base of operations. How sick would that be? This would be such a fucking cool way to progress the live service story. A simple way for players to just focus on the story in a PvE setting with characters and more of a fictional side of things, and just, you don't need to be sweaty in a team deathmatch or a slayer in order to progress the story in the battle pass. I can go into it and I can follow a set of objectives or missions within this PvE world of Zeta Halo with loads of other people behind me doing the same thing in their own session or whatever it might be. Why can we not have something like this in Halo? This would be amazing. The thing is though, we can even go to the extent of having new multiplayer maps a part of these lore or objectives as well. So for example, Season 2's maps was a massive part of this overall story of Aratus and what the Banished were looking for. We could even have a singular mission or objective on there to go and collect something or to investigate this map of some sort. We could have a couple of AIs scattered around the map to talk to, loads of Banished around there as well to fight. Stuff like this would be so much better than just having a cutscene at the start, having to play sweaty Last Spartan Standing until you've completed some battle pass, for us to then get a final 10-15 second cutscene that means nothing to us. If we can have these ideas, why can't 343? Yes, it's probably down to resource, but if I was told that this was being planned for like a year or even a year and a half later, I'd be patient in order to play and grind this. Just it'd be so fun to progress the story in a live service environment whilst waiting also for campaign DLC. I can't think of anything better. But they're the main ways I think Halo can recover. It needs a very good PvE mode, the live service story needs to completely change, and even the model of live service needs to change drastically. And again, seasonality, it needs to be key. We can't have another 10-month season for fuck's sake. It's mental that we've been in this season for nearly 10 months now. To be fair, the new event that they've put out is quite fun. I'd recommend anyone going to play it if they've, not tried it out just yet. I'd really recommend doing that. But yeah, a lot needs to change. I think 343 know that. We, of course, all know that. But yeah, let me know down below, guys. Leave a rating if you guys did enjoy. Thank you for the support recently. And we'll see you all in the next one.